Thank you, Anna, and thank you, Lars, and thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. We have received an extremely warm welcome here in Sunderberg, and it's been a privilege for us in the IEA to work with our Danish partners, the ministries and Danfoss and the Confederation and all of the other companies and stakeholders, to be part of the privilege of bringing so many people from every corner of the world to Sunderberg for these days, to focus very much on solutions, which is what we're talking about today. I do want to stress that just before I joined you, we were loading up buses across the river where we were sending ministers and senior officials from Mexico and Argentina and Australia and New Zealand and Senegal and many other countries to different sites in the region to see what's really happening on the ground and how energy efficiency can really work in practice. So I think we should just pause for a moment and be proud of that, and be proud that this region is the center of the world, and it was christened yesterday the global capital of energy efficiency. So I think we should give Sunderberg a round of applause, maybe. And I think it's great that the theme here is solutions. Some of the discussions we had yesterday at the conference across the water, we called the first session the value of early action on energy efficiency, and we launched some new research that Lars mentioned that actually puts numbers on this. And if you didn't see it, we said, for example, that if we really push on energy efficiency in this decade, by the end of this decade, by 2030, the world could be using less energy to the equivalent of the entire energy use of China. That's the prize available if we really push on energy efficiency in the next 8 years. And I think that has woken some people up to realize that the difference between focusing on energy efficiency and not focusing on energy efficiency. And I have to say, while we settled on the title, The Value of Early Action on Energy Efficiency, Lars used a phrase that we thought we might use as well, which is the cost of inaction. We were trying to decide which is more motivating. We decided to be a bit more positive framing, but I think you have to remember that the cost of inaction is that the world will be using extra energy, 95 exajoules, which is the equivalent of China's energy use. And in fact, householders will be spending every single year more than $650 billion on energy that they don't need to spend if we don't focus on energy efficiency in this decade. And that's why in our pathway to net zero energy systems by 2050, 2020 to 2030 is really the decade of energy efficiency. When you look at all the other technologies, renewables and hydrogen and CCUS and many different technologies, in fact, energy efficiency is the single biggest contributor to emissions abatement in this decade, according to our analysis, and that's why we want to focus on it. But of course, as we all know here, that's fine to say. Everybody here thinks energy efficiency is a good thing, and I think everybody over there thinks energy efficiency is a good thing as well. But it can be hard. It can be hard to visualize, and it can be hard to deliver. And that's why it's really great that we're seeing so many use of words like solutions and action here, because we're actually showing people how it works and what success looks like, both in terms of the prize you get, but also in terms of how you do it. Because I must say, when we work with governments around the world on energy efficiency, the two most common things they say to me is that it's a bit abstract, you can't see it. A minister likes to cut a ribbon on a wind farm, but it's hard to cut a ribbon on some energy that hasn't been used. And the second they say is, it's hard. It's hard work. If an energy minister wants to push renewable energy, he can sign a law that says, let's have more renewable energy. If he wants to save energy, he has to talk to his colleagues in housing, in the industry ministry, in the transport ministry. So it really requires a whole of government response and a lot of hard work to deliver energy efficiency. Now, in the past, I'm not sure that energy efficiency, even I will admit, was exciting enough to really prompt that whole of government push on energy efficiency. But two things have happened in the last couple of years. First of all, with the global focus on net zero, so many world leaders in the last 24 months have committed their countries to net zero targets by 2050 or thereabouts. 2 years ago, there was literally no net zero binding targets in the world. Now more than 3/4 of global emissions are covered by a net zero target and by a firm ambition stated by leaders. So I think that's going to be a kind of glue that really forces whole of government action. And I have to say to you, a lot of senior officials in ministries, the day after their world leader said we are going to double energy efficiency and we're going to go faster towards net zero, I'm the first to get the panicked phone call saying, how on earth are we going to achieve this? What policies can we look at to accelerate progress on energy efficiency? And the second thing, putting it a little more negatively, but with a silver lining, is the last few months, particularly here in Europe, have reminded us of the cost of inaction on energy efficiency, both in terms of just simple resilience, in terms of getting the energy we need, but also the cost to consumers. And consumers at home, in industry, are really suffering now, and I think we really need to realize that and focus on that with bills that are at an all-time high. And governments want to act. We've been delighted to be working directly with the European Commission and member states on 10-point plans that look about how we can reduce our dependence on Russian gas, how we can reduce our dependence on Russian oil, but also how we can engage citizens in this project in terms of the things that governments can do, but also citizens can do. And of course, it's all about the demand side. There are conversations to be had about LNG, about where we get our oil, about storage, but really there's a new, renewed focus on the demand side in terms of becoming more efficient, the simple savings we can all make in our daily lives, the structural changes we can make if we insulate more buildings, if we accelerate the shift to electric vehicles, if we think about the infrastructure we are building now, and we choose between locking in inefficiency, higher costs and higher emissions, or we take this opportunity to lock in efficiency, lower costs and lower emissions. And that's why this conference is so timely, and I think that's why we're delighted that so many people have come to join this conference from more than 60 countries around the world in every corner are here this week to talk about energy efficiency. And that makes me feel a little proud because it's not always easy to get people excited about energy efficiency. But everybody here has helped make that happen, because this is where the rubber hits the road, as they say, where we get tangible, we talk about solutions, and we really show how it makes it happen. So it's a real pleasure to be here. I'm afraid I can't stay for the discussion because I have to rush back and talk to those ministers again and make sure that they're taking home all the lessons from their visits here. But I really wish you well for the day, and I thank you very much for your invitation to join you. Thank you.